Hi, this is the video going over the Afinia 3D slicer and going over expert mode. To start with expert mode, you'll first want to load your model into the 3D plane. Click Start Slicing, and it will come up with this basic mode first. To switch to expert mode, you'll just hover your mouse over expert mode and left click. This will change the menu interface into expert mode. Here, you're going to have multiple more options to control the printer. You have printer, general, shells, infill, support, raft, additions, cooling, advanced, and others. And you're also able to import, export settings. You can also restore to defaults, and you can create new profiles as well with Save as New. The profiles, they will be as a material type. So if you are using a certain material and you'd like to modify the files, and the settings of that material, you can create a new profile that way. Here under printer, we have the machine type, the printer's name, and then you're going to have your nozzle size setting to change nozzle type, your material types here, and then your material size, and then your extruder temperature and your bed temperature, and then your control module. Here under general, this is just going to go over just general modeled settings of the slicer. So you can change your layer height, so how dense each layer is of the printer. The first layer height here. Here is speed settings. This will just change the overall speed of the printer. And then this is an overhang setting that will change the overhang speed of the printer. I recommend just keeping these defaults. Changing these can definitely change the quality of the print. I really recommend doing a lot of research with 3D printers if you are making any of these adjustments. Um, and also, you may need to change some of these adjustments based on your model. If you are loading these models from an STL website, some of those descriptions may have settings for that model type. Here, this is going to be your shell. So this is going to be just like the walls of the model. So we have our thickness we can change of the wall. This is going to change the speed of the extrusion while it's extruding a wall of the model. And then this is going to be your infill setting. This will allow you to change the way that the 3D printer infills solid materials. Your infill density here. This is going to be one of the more important settings here. This will help you save filament, or you can make the print more dense as well. So by changing the percentage of that, that will make it more dense. And then if it's a lower percentage, it'll be less dense. There's also a fill pattern type here. You have line, grid, hexagon, triangle, and 3D infill. If you like to play around and look at these, you can just select one, and then you can click slice, and then you can see the difference through the layer preview. Here, this is just going to be the speed of the infill when it's printing the infill. And then you can also change the strength as well. Here is the support setting. This will be your linear support, and then you have tree-like supports. Linear support's kind of like a square-based support. These are just settings that go over the speed and the spacing and size of the supports. Also, if you need to add a raft as well, you can add that here for the supports. Tree-like supports are pretty nice because they use less filament, and they can sometimes, they're easier to remove than the linear supports. So you can change the speed that they print at, and also the size and of the walls that they are as well. Here is a raft setting. This is pretty important for ABS setting. Because this allows better bed adhesion to a model. When printing with ABS, you want as much surface area as possible for that 3D model. To apply the raft, you can just click yes here, and you can keep it at default. You can also change the margin, which will change the size of the raft. And you can also change the speed of the raft and different parameters of the raft here in this setting as well. Additions here. This is the pre-extrusion. This is kind of like a purge line that the print does in the beginning of the print. This wall, what this does is allows the printer to create a shield around your print to stop airflow from affecting the print. This is really only designed for printers that don't have an enclosure. If your printer doesn't have an enclosure, this would be a useful setting for certain types of filament. This brim setting is also very useful for printing with ABS or PETG as well, just because this allows you to have a better surface area. It creates a layer around the entire print instead of it being a raft where it prints the whole entire raft and prints the print. This prints a raft just going around the print essentially. And then these settings here, these just kind of go in detail if you'd like to modify the size of the print. And here, this is the cooling setting. So this will affect the cooling speed of the fan speed with ABS. You're going to want to have this set at 15 for the default cooling fan speed. That's just so when the printer stops printing, it's able to cool down the nozzle. But then the speed of the cooling fan should be 0. This is going to be really dependent on the material that you're printing with. And then you have your advanced settings here. You can control the way that the printer does bridging. What bridging is, that's just where it's printing without supports. You can also change the rate that the extruder runs. I recommend just not really modifying much of these settings here. The path, this kind of just changes the thickness of the line. And ironing, what this does is it smooths outside layers of the 3D print. Fuzzy skin, this creates a rough texture on the 3D print. This can be useful in hiding layer lines if you do it at very small levels, or you can kind of make it an object have a rougher texture. So really all what these settings do is that they're just affecting the way that the slicer slices the file. And that's really what this does. It takes that 3D file and it slices it into instructions for the printer to create the print. Here is just the other settings. This will allow you to create offsets to the printer if needed. But if you are doing the auto leveling and there's nothing wrong mechanically with the printer, you shouldn't have much issues with just doing the auto leveling. But if you do need to dial in your print some more, you can definitely do that with the other setting. But once you click slice here, this will just slice your printer or the model on the print bed. And then from here, you can do slice preview and you can look at the layer lines. If you adjust the layer lines, this is to show you that infill type that we have. We have a honeycomb infill type. And we can see the walls here. And this slider here allows us to adjust the print. And we can also see the steps that the printer makes as well. And this kind of just shows an emulation of what the printer will do because this is the code that's getting sent to the printer to perform the print. So we can definitely make sure and kind of test, and we can start slicing again if we want to make a modification to this. We can also close the preview as well. To send the printer wirelessly, it's just this button here. To download it to your flash drive for the printer, it's just this is the download button for the sliced file. And then to send it to your printer, it's this little print icon here. But yeah, that is just our video that goes over the expert mode for the Afinia 3D slicer. You have a great day.